So welcome everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started, and this session will be recorded. We welcome you to make use of the chat window. So go ahead and type in the chat your role at UTA and anything that you want to learn. So welcome to CRTLE webinars. Our summer series is focused on digital teaching and learning, and these are tools that you can use even in the face-to-face classroom. So our topic is AI in action, exploring Khanmigo for smarter teaching in Canvas, and I'm posting some key links that our presenters have shared and curated with us. And so we have Khanmigo Teacher Tools, Canvas Partner Page, and Khanmigo Training Course. And I'm joined here by Nikisha Brown and Sarah Shelton and Yusuf, our student employee. And so we're all supporting behind the scenes. Again, if you haven't had a chance or you're just joining, look to the chat window and just let us know what you teach if you want and your role at UTA. This is a chance for us also to network and connect with each other. Again, this is recorded and the recording will be shared automatically afterward. And then we will also post a recap. So if you want to share with colleagues, we'll post the recording, we'll upload it to a CRTLE YouTube. And so it'll be a nice, clean summary of what we talked about, or if you missed a link or something. So look to pedagogy next, and I'm going to turn it over. Let me just look in the chat. We've got kind of a mix of people. We've got engineers, analytics, math, nursing, graduate students. Welcome, everyone. So Melissa Roach and Joseph Rutledge are our presenters. Melissa has been with UTA over 13 years, and she's currently interim director and instructional technology manager here at UTA Center for Distance Ed. And many of you know Joseph Rutledge, leads training, has been at UTA 7 years, and works with a lot of faculty all the time, just getting into Canvas and things like that. Again, this session is not just for online teaching, it's for face-to-face. You can use Canvas. So Melissa and Joseph, take it away, and we look forward to learning from you. And we'll wrap up about 12:45 to do Q&A.
Great, thank you, Peggy. Welcome, everyone. I'm glad you're able to join us today. As Peggy said, it sounds like a lot of people are new to Khanmigo and interested in what it can do for you as far as preparing for teaching and learning. And so the first thing I wanted to share is resources that we have compiled. And these are all hosted in Canvas. It's a set of resources for information on Khanmigo, training opportunities on Khanmigo. And I wanted to show you all first how to access those. So when you're logged into Canvas, you'll open up that help menu and click on Khanmigo Teacher Tools. And that's going to take you to our resource page. If you're not aware, Khanmigo is by Khan Academy, and it's a set of tools that perform specific tasks related to preparation for teaching. And so there's no complex prompting. It's built for teachers, by teachers, and I feel that, and I'm sure everyone else feels the same way, you know, that Khan Academy is a trusted resource and partner. And so they have partnered with Canvas to provide this free, and you can easily add it to your Canvas course menu. So this page is broken into some 3 different sections. First is information. You can view a quick overview video, check out the Canvas and Khanmigo partner page, where there's information about using it in a higher ed setting, as well as information about accessibility and the privacy policies. If you're interested in the AI details specifically, we have a PDF. They call it the nutrition facts. And so that will tell you information about the AI itself. And then scrolling down, we have training resources. The very first item in the list shows you how to enable and add the Khanmigo Teacher Tools link to your course menu. And the very first time you click that link, you're going to be prompted to either sign into an existing Khan Academy account or create a new one. And you only have to do that one time. And the next time you click on the link, it will take you straight to the teacher tools. I also wanted to point you to the Khanmigo free educators course. This course covers all the different tools, gives various examples of how to use the tools in different disciplines. It takes about 2 hours to complete. I believe there's 3 modules, so it's not too bad. And then if you wanted to, learn more about generative AI in general and teaching with AI, Khan Academy offers another just AI for education course that's not Khanmigo specific, that goes over generative AI, teaching with AI, and AI literacy, which I believe that's important for us as well as our students. And the lower portion of the page covers some general frequently asked questions. And one thing I wanted to point out is, and this could be a question that we get a lot, is can students access these tools? And the answer is no. The teacher tools are available to instructors only. Students can't see this on your course menu if you have it activated. And so in a few moments, Joseph is going to demo, and you'll see why this is an instructor-centric tool. Also, if you run into any problems while you're using Khanmigo, you may contact Canvas support using the options on the help menu, or you can use this link to create a ticket with Khan Academy support directly. So again, this link is available. The link to this page is available on the Canvas help menu. The third item down, really easy to get to. And I invite you to peruse these resources. And, if you have time before school starts again in the fall, spend a couple of hours learning about Khanmigo with this free course. And now I will stop sharing my screen and turn it over to Joseph. He's going to take us through a demo of multiple tools today. And take it away, Joseph.
All right, thanks, Melissa. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. And the first thing I want to show is I don't believe the Khan Academy link is going to be available in your course by default. So let me go ahead and show you guys how to turn that on. So what we'll do is in your Canvas, in your course menu here, I'm going to go down to the bottom. I'm going to select Settings, and then go to my Navigation tab up here on the top. And then I'll scroll through here, and these are all a list of all the links that we see over here in the course menu. So I'm going to scroll through here, and there's a second section of all the tools that are not active or not enabled in your course. So I'm going to go through that as well. And Khanmigo Tools is down here. I'm going to select the 3 dots, and I'm going to enable the tool. And then I can, it'll be down here at the bottom of the list, and then I can move it wherever I want it to show up in my course, right? If I want it to be at the top of the list or at the bottom, whatever I want to do there, then just remember to scroll all the way to the bottom and select Save. I've done this many times and forgot to select Save. Remember to select Save. So now we can see our link here in the course menu, and you can access the tool in the course that you're using. So let me go to a course where I already have it active and I'm already ready. So when I select that link, I'm going to go ahead and see all the different tools. Well, after I log in the first time, as Melissa said, the first time you use it, you're going to have to log in. If you haven't created an account, you can actually create an account right here inside Canvas. But once you do log in, then we'll see a list of all the different tools that we have available to us. And what these tools are going to help you do is to help you create lessons in your course, create exams, create assignments. There's a rubric generator. And what all this does is it uses AI to help you in doing these tasks. Now, the AI isn't smart enough to do it all for you. I can't just, add a line of text and just use everything it gives me. I'm gonna have to read through it and make sure it's what I want to use. I can edit it. I can make changes here and there. I can ask the AI tool to help me think of different ways of changing it or tell it what I want versus what it's giving me. And we'll see some of that in action here. Is what I'm going to do right here. So whenever I use any one of these tools, whether I'm creating an exam or creating a lesson plan or a rubric, everything will get saved in your My Documents area up here on the top right. When I click there, everything I've created so far is here. Whether I save it or not, it'll automatically be saved here so I can go back and look at it later. So let's go ahead and jump in back into tools and let's get started. And I chose something simple as the First Amendment, something that we all know. I'm not going to go into a specific math thing or a specific, like a reading language thing, something that we all would probably know. So I'm going to start in the planning stage here. Again, here's a list of all my tools, but here's my plan so I can get started. So I want to go ahead and create a lesson plan. So I'm going to select my lesson plan tool. And basically all I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say what I'm teaching, right? So let's say I'm teaching the First Amendment, right? Oh, if I can type. There we go. Okay. And so what Khan Academy is doing is saying, well, look, we already have lessons on the First Amendment. Do you want to select one of the ones that we already have? Or do you want to provide your own content, provide your own points that you want to hit on in that lesson? And you can do that here. But let me just go ahead so we can save time. I'm going to select one of the ones that they already have. So here we go. And then it gives me a lesson here. It's asking me, how do I want to set this up? As a 5-part format, as a 5E format, as a UDL format. So let's say we want to do this as for an online course. So I'm going to select our UDL format down here. And if I don't understand what those are, I can always click on the little I and get a better understanding of what those frameworks are. And then it's asking me, do I want to do an outline? Yes, because I selected this one, it automatically selected outline. And I'm going to select start. And then what that Khanmigo tool is going to do, it's going to create, well, let me let it go through so I can just go back up. It's going to create an outline for me. It's going to give me objectives that I can look at. Let's say I read this objective and I don't really like that objective. I can click here on this little bar in front. I'll get these little tools that pop up. And I can say, I want to make changes to this. So I can click there and it'll pop me up and it'll ask me, what do you want to do in these changes? I can say, I want to give it more, I can type something here. I can go with the different things that it's asking me here. I can add examples of real world applications, or again, like I said, if I want to type something there, I can. And then it'll rethink what that was and it'll give you a new objective. So now again, or I can come in there and I can just start editing if I want to do that as well. I can just come in here and start editing and making changes. But any part of it, I can click on, for example, I can click on something here and I can say, hey, I want to try something different. So it's going to go ahead and think of something different than what it's there. And then I can read through this. Do I like it? Do I not like it? If I'm not really sure about it, maybe I want to click on that third option and discuss this with the Khanmigo tool. And so here's the information. Well, come on, stop clicking. Here's the information it had, right? And now I can say we're going to discuss this. And I want to, let's say I highlight the text, I want to replace it, or I can just start asking questions and it'll respond back to me. And then I can go ahead and start using and tailoring this to what I want it to be. So again, there's many different ways to use this. One thing to let you know, it tells you at the very beginning, you have to double check to make sure for the accuracy of what you're wanting to do here. Even though it is AI, it is pretty smart. It's not smart enough to know exactly what you want, right? I need to go through and read through everything and make sure it's what I want to use, make edits, make changes to however I want to do it. And this is just a starter, right? This is not a taking over for you. You don't have to use this exact thing. If I don't like it, I can go back to the beginning and I can kind of reword or use a different lesson from here if I want. Pull one of the second or third lessons and see what it goes from there. So again, this is just somewhere where you can go ahead and use the AI tool to get all of that starting stuff out of the way. It gives you a starting point so you can come in and start actually building a lesson plan the way you want it to go. So now that we have a lesson plan, let's go here and I want to create objectives that I'm going to use in my course. So I'm going to go ahead and use the learning objective tool. And for these objectives, I want them to be college level objectives. And again, we're going to come here and say the First Amendment and click Start. So now we're getting an objective for our lesson. And we also have a student-facing objective of what you're expecting the student to learn when they come out by the time this lesson is over. So you have an objective for yourself that maybe you can add into your syllabus. And then you also have an objective here that your students will see, so they'll know what's expected of them by the time they finish the lesson. And again, we can do the same things. I can make changes. I can ask them to try something different. I can go in and I can discuss this again just by simply clicking on the little bar in front of the paragraphs here. Now we also have learning objectives. Now let's say I have my lesson and my learning objectives, but now I want to get a lesson hooked, right? I want to engage my students at the very beginning. So I'm going to click here. Again, we want our grade level. What's our lesson topic, right? Let's say I want to go the First Amendment in the 21st century. And I can give a little more explanation if I want, but I don't necessarily have to. So let me go ahead and click Start there. So now what the tools are going to do is going to kind of teach me ways that I can go in and kind of introduce this lesson to our students, right? I have different things that I can do. I can present my students with a recent data set of social media content moderation, talk about flagged posts and the takedown rates and all these other things that deal with the First Amendment and the social media now. Or I can use one of the other tools that they have, one of the other options that they're giving me here. Again, I can edit this. I can make changes to it if I kind of like it, but there's some things I want to change. Or I can say, let's go ahead, maybe this one, I want to go ahead and just, try something different. I don't like that option. Let me see if it'll give me a different option here. And there we go. We have a whole different option that I can go through and use. And maybe this is a better option than the other ones that I have here. So again, this is just something that it's taking away that need of you having to figure out how am I going to introduce this to our students. Just a different way of doing it, right? Just a way of getting ideas from out there in the internet and with the AI tools, bringing everything together, all the information about the First Amendment in the 21st century, and kind of giving you a scenario to bring up and introduce this to our students. So let's say your class is a freshman level course, and you're thinking that the students that you have may not really understand the wording of the First Amendment, right? They may think of it, they may get a little, that's what I'm looking for. They may not totally understand the wording since it was written a long time ago. Maybe it's something that you want to make it a little easier for them to understand. So what I can do is I can come in here and get a leveler, and what it'll do to level the text that I enter and make it understandable for somebody for a different reading level. So let me go ahead and click on the leveler here, and I'm going to copy the text from the First Amendment that I have over here on my side page here. So I'm going to copy that here, and this I'm just going to say again, the First Amendment, right? This is just, I'm just adding a title. And I typed it in here. And let's say, since like I said, we're having a lot of incoming freshmen in my class, maybe I want to put this down to a 12th grade or 11th grade level, so I can make sure that they fully understand what I want them to grasp here. And then I click Start. And what this would work well also is like if you're teaching Shakespeare and you kind of want students to get a better understanding of that, of the words of what it's trying to get, what is meant by that flowery, content in Shakespeare, and make it a little easier to understand, then we can use this to do that as well. So basically, I entered a couple of sentences of what the First Amendment is, and it gave me something to where I can give to my students somewhere in my Canvas course, or if I want to give it to them as a handout, or explain it to them in the course. This is the way I'm going to explain it to them, right? It gives it a little more understanding of someone who doesn't know a lot about law, right? We're giving them a little more understanding of the First Amendment and what those words actually mean. So now that we've explained everything and we got it ready, maybe I want to also give my students real world examples. So I can come in here to our real world context generator. And again, we want to do this for college level. And let's say, I'm going to copy and paste this to make it a little easier. Let's say I want to present the importance of the First Amendment interpretation of the 21st century. Click Start. So now, again, the tool is going to work. It's going to find everything. And now it's giving me ideas that I can give to our students, right? Some real world ideas that they are actually going through. Hate speech in the First Amendment, any type of protests, student speech in schools. So again, we're giving examples to kind of make this a little more to give our students a little more understanding of the lesson that you're trying to get to bring to them, right? Bring it more into their world. And as always, we can always make changes if we want by clicking on the little block in front, making changes to this, try something different, or I want to discuss this because maybe I want to reword it a little differently and I want the Khan Academy tool to help me do that.
Joseph, I have a tiny question, if I can
Sure.
just interrupt real quick. Can you change languages? I'm just going to interrupt with just small questions, but can you change languages in?
Yeah,
okay.
So let me go ahead and do that again. So I'm gonna do exactly what we had again. So let me come here, college, start, and then I'm going to wait for it to start typing. Then I'm going to click on the Khanmigo tool up here. And I'm going to say, can you write this in Spanish? And send that. So there we go. Wait, hold on. It's supposed to have the lesson in Spanish. I saw the tool do this and it's maybe I have to highlight it first. There we go. So it's going through all the lessons that we have, all the points that we had here, and it's doing it in Spanish or whatever other language I decide I wanted to have it come in. So start from the beginning. Here's our notes. Here's our ideas in Spanish. So again, you can do a different language if you need to. Again, just need to know what to ask and how to ask it, right? So so I just asked, can you present this lesson in Spanish? And the tool did it for me. It translated everything for me in a different language. Did that answer your question, Peg?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. What did you mean something else?
Someone asked if the leveler was English only.
No, you can do this with the exact same thing, but it's not going to do it here. It's going to be English when I use it, but you can always come to the tool over here on the end over here. And I'm glad you asked that because I would have totally forgot to bring that up.
Yeah.
And you can ask that here. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
Great.
And we'll do do questions at the end. Yeah. Yeah,
that's fine. That's fine. So like I said, I'm glad you asked because I would have forgotten to bring that up. So let's say now we're going into assessments, right? So after we have our lesson plan, our learning objectives, we introduce the topic to our students. Now we want our students to actually discuss this amongst themselves or in the class. So I think it's still under plan. So under plan, I have discussion prompts. So now I can come in here and again, I select our college level, right? Our level that we want to present our topics here. And let's say I want to do one of the options that it brought me in the real world scenarios, the First Amendment and student speech on campus. Let me get rid of all this other stuff here. Okay, and then I'm going to click start. So now what the Khanmigo tool is going to do is going to give me some discussion prompts that I can bring up to my students. And that way they can go ahead and discuss this amongst themselves. Or if you want to create a discussion board in your Canvas course, you can use some of the topics that they have here. And again, as just as before, we can go through, we can make changes. I can, if I'm not sure I like something here, I can say, to try something different. You know, and again, it'll bring in something else. Let's say I want to make some changes, then I can click there. I can ask it to rephrase for clarity. Excuse me, I don't know why I'm having trouble saying that. Include recent legal cases, add examples of a social media cases, and then we can go through and start uh, um, getting a little more involved, a little more meat, I guess you can say, on the bones than just basic questions and things like that for our students. So again, it's just using the tool to kind of give you ideas, not using the tool to create the lesson for you, right? And you work with the tool to build those ideas out to what you want. I can even use this to create assignments. So under create, we have our clear directions where we can create uh, instructions for assignments and activities. So let me go ahead and copy my previous example over here from our other page. Again, we have our college level, and here's the example of the assignment that I want my students to do here. And I'm going to click start. And then again, the tool is going to do just what we've been doing before each and every time. It's going to give us directions of what our students need to do. And here are the 5 steps. And again, I can always go in, organize and change. I can edit this if I want. I can, if I didn't like the way it was worded, I can ask it to, clarify. And then it gives you a little more information. So again, the tool is there to kind of help you build these things for your course, right? Building assignments, building a discussion board prompt. We can even use it to create quiz questions. So again, if I go to create, I have a question generator, which can create essay style questions, or a multiple choice quiz generator where the tool will create multiple choice questions. So if I click on my quiz generator and let's go back to our, select our grade level, select the number of questions I want, you can go up to 10. And here's the text that I want to use. I want to create questions based on this topic. I click start. And now I have not only questions, but general answers that fit those questions. And again, we can always change them. We can make slight edits, or we can ask the tool to probably, select. Let's say I don't like this question. I want to, try a different one, try something different. I can go through and get a different question, or I can work with the tool to make the question better, right? I can give a little more detail. I can rephrase the question, use examples of freedom, different things like that, or different questions that I can think of, right, to add in there myself, and that'll rework that question into more what you want it to be. Another great thing that we have here is a rubric generator. So if you have your assignments or you have your discussion boards and you want to create a rubric for that, we can use our rubric generator. Again, I'm going to select our grade level, add our assignment description. So let me use what we created for our here's a copy of what I had for my assignment. I just copied and pasted that text here. So that assignment that it gave me earlier, I have something similar. It's not always going to be the same every time you do it, right? Because the AI is going to be a little different every time. So here's what we have here. And then I can add a little more criteria if I want, or I can just say, hey, look, I'm going to select our performance levels, have 3 levels, 4 levels, 5 levels. I'll go with 5. And I can add more notes if I want to do that as well. But I'm just going to go ahead and click start again, just to kind of go through this quickly to show you what the tool can do. So now we have our, if it gets to it, here we go. It's thinking. So now it's going to build a rubric, right? And we're going to have our different rating levels. We're going to have a few criteria there. We can ask the tool to add an extra criteria or to edit the ones that we have. And there we go. So here we have our criteria, our different rating levels here. Here we have our first criteria and what the students need to do to meet each one of these rating levels. We have another criteria down here and another one down here. So again, we can kind of use this tool to help us build an assignment, help us build a rubric, help us build a quiz, and just kind of, go through it and use the tool. If we're not happy with this, I can try something different. I can make changes to this, or I can work with our Khanmigo tool over here on the panel on the right to kind of, reword this and kind of get this a little more to what I want it to be. And for everything that you do here, everything that you build, I can print a copy of it, or I can export this to Microsoft Word, to a PDF, to a Google Drive, or a Microsoft OneDrive. So I can always save that, but it always saves to the documents here. So you'll always have access to this, even if you didn't save this on your OneDrive or save it to a Microsoft Word document beforehand. You can always go back to your documents. So if I clicked on my documents up here, here's all the things that I was creating earlier today. I can go back and click on one of those, and I can export that to a Word document if I want. So anything that I've worked on before will always save there, will always be there for me to use later. And that's pretty much tools for creating lessons. There's other things that we can use it for too. You can use it to help you write a letter of recommendation. At certain parts of the year, maybe you want to give your students an update on how they're doing. One of the things that they have here is called a report card comments. But this is something where I can use this to give my students maybe a midterm update on how they're doing. I can put the name of the student. I don't have to. It'll give me a generic, a student name. Say we want to do this for a college level. Let's say that, let me see here. Let's say that the student, did well on exams, turned in assignments late, provided good topics in classroom discussions, and areas of improvement as well. Well, I guess we can put this turned in assignments late under areas for improvement. And let's go ahead and click start. And now the tool is going to kind of generate a couple of paragraphs that I can use or edit or change, right? To kind of send my student a kind of an update on how they're doing in the semester, right? I don't have to go in and think of the exact sentences. I have it here, something to start with, something that I can base what I want to send my students to let them know how they're doing. So again, there's many tools here that you can use. And really, as I said, as we were saying earlier, these are things just to help you, to make your life a little bit easier. You don't have to worry on the minutia. You can give the tools general topics, and it'll build assignments for you. It'll build a discussion board prompt for you. It'll build objectives for your course. A lot of little things that we have here that we can use. So I think that's most of the tools that I want to go over. Most of the other ones kind of work the same way. Just kind of go in and play with them a little bit. We have our planning tools, our creating tools, tools to help our students better understand the information that we are giving them, some support tools. And there's even a tool for you to learn if you haven't taught a course in a couple of years and you're teaching it again. I can refresh my knowledge on that course or on those topics, right? Just select here, add the topic, and then the Khanmigo tool will give me some more information on that topic. So, and this is always, whenever I have something like this, it's a discussion, right? Act like if you're texting with somebody online, right? If again, we'll just add our First Amendment topic here that we've been doing before. And what Khanmigo is going to do is say, okay, what grade am I planning on preparing for? Let's say, again, if I can type college level. And now, so how do I want to help review? Let's say I want to learn through conversation. So it's asking me, do I want it to quiz me on the topic, or do I want to just have a conversation with it and kind of just read what it says and then ask a little more questions and then keep going? So again, just refreshing my knowledge on the topic that I haven't taught in a couple of years. And if you use any of the tools multiple times, I can add a little gold star to them, and they'll be in my favorites that I can easily find them instead of having to go through and find them in the alphabetical list here. So I'm trying to think of other tools that we have here, Peggy, but I think we've pretty much gone through most of it. So give you a little more time for questions.
Yeah, I just
here.
had a comment. Yeah, we have questions. I know that I came from the K-12 world, and I can tell that some of this is, like it says parents. I mean, obviously,
yeah,
we're not, informing parents, but like just, yeah, take it and adapt it to higher ed. If you see something like, I see class newsletter said something about keep parents informed. Obviously, we have to kind of translate that to higher ed. And so just keep in mind that this is also a K-12 tool. So if you see stuff in here that's like, looks like it's for, first, young children, or, just take it with a grain of salt, and we can modify. But I think a lot of this can be used at all levels, like the exit ticket. I'm a big fan of exit tickets. Learning objectives. I think this can streamline the, have you looked at the letter of recommendation tool?
I have not. I mean, if you all want, we can look at it real quick right now. So here we can put a student's name. I can spell my name. Well, this recommended to be used for, let's say, graduate school. How do you know the student? He is let's say, the teaching assistant. And then we got to do our qualities. So I'm just going to copy the qualities they have there, kind of save a little bit of time. And growth opportunities.
I've done that. I've asked students to, send me a bullet list. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Okay, and then so just I have to put something here, but share an area of direction in which you hope for further growth.
Right.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of something to type there. If somebody can think of something, let me know. I'm kind of at a loss for words right now.
Public
continuing
speaking.
To learn. I don't know. I just yeah, public speaking. That's a good one. Everyone
okay,
can
we'll
cheat out.
That's what I struggle with.
All right, so let's go ahead and click start there.
Oh.
And so now, again, it's kind of writing a draft of a letter that I can send out. I don't have to figure out what I'm going to write for these letters. Everything is here that I can go in again. I can come here. I can make changes. I can edit myself. If I don't want to say first and last name, maybe I just want to have first name here. I can delete the last name, or use a different word here instead of leadership. Or I can again, before, come here and make changes with the tool and kind of, personalize with the student name. As I can add a specific achievement, I can include a personal anecdote, things of that nature. So again, you use the tool to set the baseline, and then you build it into what you want it to do. You build what it gives you into what you wanted in the first, what you want that end product to be, I guess is the best way to say it.
Joseph, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Sarah Shelton, and she is going to kind of point out questions, or if you want to go ahead, and I'll turn it over to Sarah.
All right, I'm going to stop sharing here so that way you can jump in.
Yeah, so if anyone had questions, we've covered all the ones that have been dropped in the chat so far. Melissa's hopped on those and answered them. So if anyone has something else you're wondering about. One thing that kept popping up in the chat that I'll bring into the main conversation, Joseph, is it sounds like, or looks like to me, that like when you're creating the rubric in the Khanmigo tool, you're going to still have to export it or copy and paste it into the Canvas assignment, the rubric there. It's not like an immediate translation of, like, it doesn't, using a technical term, it doesn't just slurp over into your Canvas shell. Is that right?
Is true. Yeah, that
Okay.
is true. We had our rubric here that we created. When I can export the rubric, I can export it as a Microsoft Word document or a PDF. The rubric tool inside Canvas, you can import rubrics as a CSV file. So as a comma separated file in Excel. So unless you wanted to copy the Word document stuff into Excel and then import that in, but at that point it'd just be easy enough to copy and paste that into Canvas. So it does the work for you. Now you just have to do the copy and paste, right? So I'm not saying it doesn't work for you, right? We want to make that clear, right? It gives you the baseline. It gives you the starting point that you can go ahead and use these. Because again, like we're asking of our students, we don't want our students to go out there and use AI to submit their work, right? If they're going to go out there and do that, they want to use it as a learning tool, not as something to do the work for them. And that's what we want to think of the same thing here, right? We want to use this as a learning tool, something to help us, to make our life easier, to kind of do the repetitive stuff, the easy things, and then let us do the higher learning, the higher thinking of fitting these tools, fitting the assignment questions or the lesson plan or the discussion board prompts, fitting those into what we want, right? This is just a baseline, something to get us started.
Yeah, and one of the things that was also came up one thing that also came up in the chat for those who weren't following, it was a question of, if we're using this tool in our own course, what do you think we should do as far as citing that use? Should we put it in our syllabus? Should we talk to students about it? Melissa's take on that was, to model correct citation of the use of AI, and so to probably talk about it. So Joseph, what are your thoughts on, if we're using Khanmigo in our class, should we talk to our students about that?
I don't know if that's a me question. I think that may be somebody who maybe a faculty affairs, somebody who teaches, who's taught more.
Or Melissa, you had a good answer. Do you want to jump in and
Sure, yeah. I think it could be a good teachable moment. Yes, you are being transparent as an instructor. You're telling your students, yes, I used an AI tool, a very safe, fully vetted, private AI tool to help me, create this lesson, help me create this assignment. And I think that would be modeling good behavior and appropriate use of AI for the students. You don't want them to find out you're hiding something from them, because then, they may be more apt to hide something from you. I mean, human nature. But I think it would be, the students might actually value being told that, hey, my instructor used this. So, yeah, I mean, somebody from, legal or or like something like that might have a more complex answer, but that's my take on it.
Yeah, and I mean, because we've been seeing, I've seen things pop up in the news about students, finding out that their professors are using AI in certain situations. And so I think that you're right. Like, why wouldn't we model the behavior and the policy and the ethics that we're trying to help our students learn as they navigate a world in which AI is being used all over the place. So Michael had a question. He wasn't sure if he missed it, whether he can edit. Oh, sorry, hold on, let me read it. Whether any content we create or edit might leave our environment or be used to train tools elsewhere. So is it all stays in Khanmigo? Yes?
Yes, and it is not used to train models. That's all in the resource course, on that resource page. There's the AI nutrition facts PDF that you can download. I also attached it in the chat, that goes over, how the data is used, where the data comes from, the model, the type of model that's that Khanmigo is trained on. And in the FAQs, it kind of addresses a couple of those questions as well. And I also stated that this tool has been vetted by accessibility by Laura Hopkins, and also has been fully vetted and approved by UTA's ISO group. So
Yeah, and we've dropped all of the links that y'all gave us into the chat a couple of
Thank you.
times. Peggy has, and we'll drop them again here towards the end in a minute. But yeah, I'm interested in taking the course. I really want to, this is, when Joseph was doing the rubric, I took my headphones off and exclaimed to the room, well, that will cut about 500 hours out of my time.
yes.
Just because when you have to, when you want to do a rubric where it is very clear to the student, not just what category they're getting, but that whole description underneath it of what that means, to differentiate that, a little bit for each one. It's nice to start from something instead of nothing, a blank screen. Yeah. So, any other comments or questions people want to drop in the chat, or let us know, like, what's the first thing y'all are going to do with Khanmigo when you get away from us? Let's see in the chat if there are a few thoughts on that.
Yeah, I would love to see people's thoughts. Kendra, how was the course? And how long did it take you?
So for those not in the chat, Kendra said that she took the course yesterday and it was quick and easy. Yeah, I'm excited about that. So it looks like rubrics. Lots of people want to do rubrics. Yeah, assignment instructions, like, when you just need really quickly to put in a Canvas page that has actual instructions for what they need to do. That's awesome. Exit tickets, lesson hooks. Excellent. All right.
And just a quick thing I want to say, if you make the tool available in one of your courses, you don't necessarily have to do it in all your other courses, because nothing directly exports to the Canvas course, right? It exports to that documents page. Now, you can make the tool available in all your courses, but you don't have to use it in that specific course that you're creating the lesson plan for, that you're creating those assignment questions for, right? You can go into your 1301 course and create stuff for a graduate course, right? You don't have to be in a specific course to do it. Everything that you do inside of Khanmigo is going to stay together, right? All of your documents will be available no matter which course you're in.
Yeah. It follows you, not the course.
Okay, good.
Follows you as the user.
That kind of brings up a question that we were talking to a few different colleagues who don't teach academic courses, but they are in Canvas for other reasons. And they could use this tool for workshop, objectives, discussion, stuff like that. Do they have access to Khanmigo? Is that in their settings options if they don't have an academic shell?
Yes.
A course shell that they're working with? Okay, so they could get access to that.
Yes, we have it available at the root level. So that means it would be available in any course created in Canvas. And it even has a SMART goal writer. So like for trainings or workshops, not just learning objectives, but actually it will help you write SMART goals.
Okay.
So
awesome. Yeah, I saw
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. Anything else? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Peggy has a comment.
Also, if you're working on, and maybe Melissa, you can verify, if you're doing a Quality Matters version of your course, I can see this helping. Just adding those layers of structure. Yeah.
Yes, and I know there's the requirements for engagement and, instructor presence, and it can help you to create assignments and different activities, like the question generator. If you input, a block of text and have it generate questions for you, it could be essay questions, but other things might be activities to get the students involved. There's also a real world context tool that, I remember when I was in school way back in the 80s, a lot of courses, I would say to the teacher, how am I going to use this in the real world? And so that could help to answer those questions. It will help you show your students and give them activities to connect the learning or the theory to real world. So I'm very impressed with the tool. I'm an evangelist.
No, I can see why. Yeah, and another thing Kendra pointed out in the chat was that she's also been playing around with Design Plus, which we had a webinar about a few weeks ago with Jess, and using Khanmigo to help create the content that then, you know, plugs into what you're designing through Design Plus is a good combo. So if you missed that webinar, we have it on our podcast blog website, which is there was a slide earlier, and I'll throw it up here at the end when we're exiting. And we've been recording all of these, and we'll be posting all of them. And actually, Peggy just put the link in the chat. I just saw it too. So we also have a feedback QR code in the chat. If you don't mind giving us some feedback on your way out today, just so we know how these are going and what else you need from us. Joseph and Melissa, was there anything else you wanted to add here at the end, or are you?
You can put his, if you.
Yes, we'll put email. Can we put y'all's emails in the chat? Is that, or here?
Yes.
And also let me, okay, I'm going to try really hard to share the right screen today, because anyone who was in the last webinar knows that I messed that up. So here we go. Oh, these were the resources that oh, sorry, Melissa has been talking about, that they are in the chat, and I'll upload these slides too, just so people have those. I'll put that in the chat when we're done. Feedback survey is also in the chat. But if you don't mind, we love having data. It helps us know how to plan and what you'll need from us. And then here, I'll leave this up as we kind of wrap up and exit, our Melissa and Joseph's emails, as well as how to get a hold of us at CRTLE. So if you have any questions or things you want to let us know about, please do. So I think, Peggy, any other thoughts or last minute?
Thanks, everyone. Yeah, put any feedback in the chat too, if you don't mind. And then also we will be sending out the slide deck. We'll sending out the recording again if you missed it. And then we'll put a slightly edited version of the recording and resources as a recap on the Pedagogy Next blog.